In the days of ancient Israel, the city of Samaria stood under a shadow of death, besieged by the vast Syrian army. Inside the walls, a terrible famine gnawed at the people.
A donkey's head was sold for silver as mothers wept for their children.
The king of Israel walked the ramparts in sackcloth, his heart filled with bitter despair and burning anger against the heavens, blaming the prophet of God for this misery. The king sent an executioner to take Elisha's life.
But Elisha stood firm.
By this time tomorrow, he declared to a mocking captive, flour and barley will be sold for pennies.
Meanwhile, at the city gates, 4 outcasts, men afflicted with leprosy, sat in the dust, forgotten by the world and left to die.
Why sit we here until we die?
They reasoned, if we enter the city, we starve. If we go to the Syrians, we might live. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the 4 broken men began their slow, limping journey toward the camp of their enemies.
But unknown to them, God caused the Syrian army to hear the thunderous roar of 1,000 chariots and a great host.
Terror gripped the Syrian soldiers, thinking an army had come to Samaria's aid. They fled into the night, leaving everything behind.
When the lepers reached the camp, they found not soldiers, but silence and tents overflowing with food, silver, and gold.
They feasted like kings, eating their fill and hiding treasures in the sand, lost in the wonder of their sudden fortune. But then, conscience struck. We do not do well, one said.
This is a day of good news, and we are keeping it to ourselves. They hurried back through the darkness to the city gates, shouting the news to the watchmen high above the stone walls. The king feared a trap, but scouts returned with word of the empty camp. The miracle was real.
The enemy was gone.
The massive gates of Samaria swung open, and a starving tide of people rushed out to reclaim their lives in their city. In the chaos, the skeptical captain who mocked the prophet was trampled at the gate, seeing the abundance but never tasting it. Just as Elisha had foretold, the marketplace was suddenly filled with fine flour and barley, and the famine was broken.
Elisha watched as the prophecy was fulfilled, while the 4 lepers stood as the unlikely messengers of God's great salvation.
For in the darkest hour, deliverance came not from the mighty, but from the most unexpected of places.